Welcome back to Full of a Took. We're so glad to see you all tonight. We are here to talk about Chapter 6 of The Two Towers, The King of the Golden Hall. His name was Paul, and he was quite tall.
God damn it.
There, I pulled a Tolkien.
Oh,
all right, that's it. That's the whole book.
That's a wrap, everyone.
Over.
Oh, wait, I'm confusing that with Dr. Seuss. Are they really any different, though? Find out next week.
Yes, Dr. Seuss was a doctor.
I'm not coming next week.
It's such a good time reading. This is a good chapter.
We are in for a very straightforward chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they start outside, they go inside, then they come back outside.
That's it. You summarized it.
Wow.
That's what happens.
We have drama.
Yes.
We have new villains.
I was
Yeah.
so excited to meet another woman that actually has lines.
Yeah.
And actually
Another
does
strong
something.
female
Ooh.
character.
Oh my God.
Wormtongue.
Oh my God, that was good.
Damn it.
So last chapter, we returned to Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli as they continued to track the footprints of the hobbits. An old man appeared to them in the forest and is revealed to be Gandalf. He told them many things, including Saruman had been following them, Merry and Pippin had gone with the Ents to Isengard to fight Saruman, and all that had happened when he fell into the abyss with the Balrog. After Gandalf threw the Balrog to his death, Lady Galadriel sent Gwaihir to find him and bring him to Lothlorien to be healed and then clad him in white. Gandalf, now called the White Rider, summoned Shadowfax and 2 other horses, and Aragorn, Legolas, and Gandalf, and Gimli riding with him on Shadowfax, set off toward the golden halls of Théoden.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Or as Gandalf likes to say, Legolas.
He does say Legolas.
Legolas. It's so pronounced.
There were so many tough names in that chapter. I was like, ooh, it's a tongue twister.
Yep. I love chapter 6 because it is the King of the Golden Hall. This is Théoden. We meet a shitload of very important characters very, very quickly because a lot of things happen rapidly. And the consequences of this chapter, of this meeting, are going to echo throughout the rest of the book and then into the next book.
Generally, Tolkien describes some of the stuff he's talking about and gives a little bit of history. You can go look up more if you want, but here's like a one-liner about it. This chapter is written from somebody who's never read it before. It's written as if you know all of it already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, you know?
So you make jokes about this, but I feel like this is one of those chapters where the editor was like, no, cut all of this.
Yeah.
This feels like a transition chapter, right? Because to your point, last chapter we got told what was going to happen. This chapter we see what happens.
Yeah.
And then this chapter leads us direct, like a stone rolling down a hill directly into the next chapter.
Which is crazy.
I know, right? Like the tone of this is so different. And part of that is that like when Gandalf came back, he was like, I have returned at the turning of the tide. Shit is different now. And starting with the pacing of the chapter, that's extremely true. Mm-hmm. And the chapter starts with them in the dark. They've ridden through the night. They've gotten almost all the way there. They take a couple of hours break and Gimli throws himself on the ground. Legolas lays down to be polite. Aragorn stretches out and like stares into nothingness. And Gandalf keeps watch all night and he just keeps glancing west and east to Isengard and to Mordor, to Barad-dûr, to Orthanc, the Two Towers. And it starts you...
Oh, shit. The Two Towers.
Yeah. Right?
I didn't realize that.
Right? Like it's...
Those are the Two Towers.
Yes. Yeah.
This makes so much more sense now.
And
Chris was like, when are we going to meet the Two Towers?
yeah, like that's... No, really though, because there's a lot of towers in Lord of the Rings, right? But the significance of all that is that Rohan is caught in the middle, like literally in the middle of its enemies. And I think it was Gimli says like, oh man, it sucks for all these people trapped in Gondor and the Rohirrim, and they're stuck fighting a war on 2 fronts. And Gandalf makes the point of like, no, it's better that they're separated. Then we can deal with one, then the other. And so this is what's got to be on Gandalf's mind as he's keeping watch all night. And dawn starts to rise. The golden light illuminates the fields and the mountains and the valleys. And they all stand up and they watch the sunrise and they see this one especially large, deep valley sort of in shadow, slowly revealed by dawn's light. And he says, Legolas, what do you see? And he says, I see green fields. I see a river. I see flowers, countless white flowers on mounds. And I see a hill with a town on it. And in that town, I see another hill. And on that is a hall, a large building with a golden roof, with golden pillars at the doors, and with like 3 guards with bad teeth. And they're like, yep, that's Rohan.
Gandalf is literally using Legolas as binoculars right now.
Right. But like kind of sassy binoculars too, because
Super sassy.
Because they talk about it and they're like, well, what is this place? What are these men? Who are they? And Aragorn kind of like explains briefly that the Rohirrim are a people who lived in the north originally, and then they came south and they established this kingdom. And Legolas is like, yeah, that was like 500 years ago, but that's like no time to me, but like, goddamn.
Dick.
Like, you guys, whew, that's rough.
I'm not sure if I told you guys, but I'm immortal.
Right.
Been here a while. It's like, shut
In case you forgot.
Legolas tells them what he's seen, and Gandalf says, okay, hop on the horses, we're going. And they ride up to the city, and they get up to the gates, and they're met by a set of guards. And they speak to them not in the common tongue of the West, like, English kind of. They speak to them in the language of the Rohirrim, the language of Rohan, their specific dialect. And Gandalf understands it perfectly, but also he's like, it's kind of rude. English, motherfucker, do you speak it? And the guys are like, no, it's wartime. It's wartime. We don't talk to strangers. No one's allowed in unless you're our friends. Only people who know how to speak our language, and the boys over at Mundberg, which by the way is what they call Gondor.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the hell that meant.
Yeah.
I had to look it up.
Well, no, there's a little bit of context, but the point is they're so far removed from the rest of like Men and Gondor specifically that they have an entirely different insane name for Gondor, for Minas Tirith. Well, and we'll get into why that's interesting, but it's a linguistic branching that I think speaks a lot to how different the cultures are and why you can have 2 separate peoples living so close together. So first off, they're meant to greet strangers and then to tell them to fuck off. That's their kind of their MO, because the Rohirrim are at war, and they are not to let any strangers in. They're not to be trusted. Fuck off. And Gandalf kindly explains, like, we are not strangers. I'm Gandalf the goddamn Grey. You are gonna go like you're gonna go tell your boss I'm here. I'm gonna go talk to your boss about this. This is not for us to discuss. And the 2 guards are looking at each other like, I don't know. He looks like, are you a ghost? We don't fuck with ghosts.
What's your name? Randy?
Randy, yeah.
Randolph?
Are you a ghost? He looks like a ghost. Yeah, you don't look like a ghost. He looks more like a wizard. Are you a wizard? Oh, fuck, he is a wizard. I hope he's not a wizard ghost. Anyway, I'm going to let him know who's at the door. And it's like, honest to God, it's not that dumb, but it's real close.
Well, because he looked like a wizard, they thought he was with Saruman.
Right.
Yeah.
He looked like a wizard, so they thought he was a wizard. They only know one wizard.
Yeah.
Which is one wizard too few.
It's also tough he's wearing white now. They're like,
Yeah.
He's like, I'm Gandalf the Grey. And they're like,
Don't look green to me.
out.
you're not.
Anyway, the guard comes back and he says, you're going to have to leave all your weapons at the door, but the boss wants to talk to you, so up the hill you go. So they enter the city and they take this winding path up, and they get to the top of this terrace on the inside of the city where this golden hall was. And again, it's not that the hall's literally gold. It's that it had a thatched roof that was like shining in the sun. And the pillars are plated in gold, and the guys are dressed in mail. So like, yeah, all right, it checks out. But they get to the second set of guards, and this guy Hamma is in charge. And Hamma says to them, he's like, okay, you've been told you can come in, but you have to leave all your weapons here. I've been told to take everything off of you. So Legolas is like, all right, here's my knife, here's my bow, here's my arrows. By the way, I got these from the Lady of the Golden Wood, so don't touch them. And they're like, no one's going to touch that shit. That is some wizard shit. We're okay here.
Yeah.
And then next up is Aragorn. And it's a little Karen trying to return something at like Walmart type moment, because the rule is very clear. Sir, you must leave the sword. Well, I will not leave the sword. Well, why not? It's a special sword, goddammit. And I said I ain't doing it. And it's the flame of the West. Remember, this is the sword reforged. This is the sword of his heritage. This is a sword out of legend, forged with runes. Like, this is a real motherfucker of an artifact of a sword. And Aragorn's only got like 3 possessions in his whole ass life.
Yeah.
And one is the Elfstone, and one is this sword, and the other one is like his boots. Like, that's all he got. And he's not going to leave the sword with other men. And it takes like Gandalf stepping in, and then also a lot of threats.
And Gimli.
And
Gimli was fanning the flames.
Oh,
Both of the G's were being not helpful at all.
Gandalf was being helpful.
well, kind of. Gandalf. So Aragorn's
pushing
got
it
the
along.
he's got the 2 angels on his shoulders. One is Gandalf going, "It's fine. This doesn't matter. It's the king making rules in his own house, Aragorn.
He's allowed to do that.
You should probably pay attention." And Aragorn going, "Anywhere else, yeah, but this is my sword. This is a special sword. This is the flame of the West. This is not some fucking anything." And Gimli's over there going, "I will kill everyone here. You say the word." Gandalf is over this conversation. Hamma is getting real tired. Aragorn won't budge.
Also, I love that Aragorn, sorry to interrupt, but Aragorn says this thing in this moment to Hamma that is amazing because he's talking to Hamma as if Hamma knows what the fuck this is. And he's like, "But it was broken and they made it again." And he's just like, "Ah!" And it's like this weird, like, childlike, like, "No."
Doesn't he
you
talk in
don't
the third
understand.
person too?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he's like, "This is Aragorn's sword."
Right.
This is so weird. I didn't like it.
But like, it's, you got to think about it this way, right? It is Aragorn who is burdened by prophecy in a super real way. And then it's Hamma, who's basically a beat cop dealing with the public every day going, "I don't got time for this bullshit. Put the sword over there or don't. I don't care. I don't care."
I was picturing the dad in Family Matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy. Earl Winslow.
Yeah.
Carl Winslow.
Carl
Yeah.
Winslow.
I almost said Earl.
Earl.
Not Earl.
Not to be confused with Errol the Young.
That's our boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then it finally gets to the point where Gimli is like, he went from medium jazz to full jazz on like, "I will help you kill everyone here. We just let's do it." And then I think maybe at that moment Aragorn realized that maybe this was getting to a little too far along, and then he diffused the situation, said, "Okay, fine, but if anyone touches this, it's you."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Again, not a problem. Y'all came from some enchanted elf nightmare. We're not touching your stuff. You're just not allowed to bring it inside. How many times I got to say it?"
Literally nobody wants to touch your shit.
And Gimli's like, "Oh yeah, okay, whatever," and like throws his sword on the ground. He's like, "It's not a big deal. Let's go."
Axe.
But he like turns
Or-
to
sorry.
Hamma and he's like, "Do you ever see The Shining?"
And then they want to take Gandalf's staff, and Gandalf's like, look, come on, we don't have time for this. I'm an old man. It's a walking stick. What's the worst that could happen?" And Hamma probably thinking like, a lot of bad things can happen. You're a wizard or a ghost. But again, I have no more patience for this. So in you go. And with all that, they're finally admitted into Medeseld, the Golden Hall, the seat of the king of Rohan. And this is Theoden. And they're greeted with this this interior of like paved stones and carved pillars and a huge like a very tall ceiling with like windows built into it, so light is streaming down. And it's very interesting because it's almost empty from the way Tolkien tells it to us. It's like he doesn't really describe anything except he gives us a real basic rundown of the architecture, and then he zooms in on the people, on the dais, on the raised platform where the king sits, and nothing else comes into play. We're not told about, like, I contrast this with Lothlorien. I contrast this with Rivendell. Hell, even with Bree, we're told about the people who are in the room and what's going on, and we're given that information, and it's given a lot more character. But all of the drama zooms right in on the dais and on who's there. First, I'll start with Eowyn, it's this woman, stern, proud, beautiful, but kind of off to one side. On the dais itself is the king's throne and the king, who is this bent, gray, bearded, like beard to his knees, bent double in his chair, an ancient man, an old looking man. And then sitting next to him, this kind of pale, creepy looking guy.
Creepy motherfucker.
I wrote down Worm Boy, and I can't. It's stuck in my brain. It's
The only way they described him is with the heavy eyelids.
yeah. So
Wait,
it's
his tongue too, his light
Oh, and a
gray,
narrow-
long tongue. I was
Pale,
like,
thin tongue.
pale. Yeah, he's pale. He's tall. He's thin. He's got a long tongue. The man is a snake. This is Grima. This is Wormtongue. This is the king's chief advisor.
His tongue is just.
It's gross.
It's an actual.
tongue was
It's just an
just-
earthworm.
God.
It's as thin as one. It's just a really.
It just like pops out again.
Yeah, it's like really not good
Like
for
so
eating or
far, that
talking.
was a more disgusting description than like the trolls,
He has a terrible lisp.
the ring rates, like any monster we've come across. Like his tongue is more disgusting to me than any
Yep.
of that.
It's like he's got a really thick piece of spaghetti in his mouth.
oh God,
Blech.
It just falls out. It's like 10 inches long.
God, it's not that long, but yeah,
He's like, oh, my tongue fell out.
He like rolls it back up.
it's like a fruit roll up.
yeah, fruit by the foot.
Oh God, that's what the treat should be.
This is so gross.
Damn it.
Guys, this is so
Missed
gross.
opportunity.
Just drop it out of your mouth.
We could have all been worm tongues. Put the gummy worms.
I'm so sorry to derail you, Pat. No,
it's fine.
continue.
God bless you, Pat. You just stay on target while we throw you off a mountain sometimes.
Like you're saying the things I'm thinking. I have to hold all this in.
Oh, God.
But occasionally, yeah, you guys just talk and it's crazy. So we have the king, his advisor. Eowyn is the king's niece. We have Gandalf. We have Aragorn. Even Legolas and Gimli are just kind of like background at this point. But it's really, it focuses on these people. And what happens is Gandalf walks up and says, hey, Theoden King, it's me, it's Gandalf, I'm back. We have to talk. Things are getting real. And Theoden responds with, yeah, you know, Gandalf, when I heard you were dead, I was not too torn up about that. I was kind of glad the horse came back. Well, then it left and it's back again, but it came with you, so it's less good. But yeah, really, you know, reports of your death were greatly exaggerated. And, well, why are you here?
I did not warn you.
Right. It's this whole thing.
It's rough.
And that's the way the king treats you when you show up.
That sucks.
Oh my God, yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like, well, Gandalf, last time you were here, you asked me for help. So tell me, is this going to be different? Gandalf takes a big breath. No. Grima stands up at one point and says, essentially like, oh, look, it's Gandalf, the guy who only shows up when shit's bad. People who bring bad news or delight in bad news tend to always show up when bad things happen. And Gandalf kind of like counters with, well, that's true, but there's the third kind of person, the kind of person who only bothers you when shit gets real and you should know some things or there's something to be done. That's me. I'm the third person. The thing to take away from all this is that it's a very tense conversation. It's a bad conversation.
And it's really just Wormtongue
Yeah.
being a dick to Gandalf. Like, Théoden only gets in a couple of words.
Grima speaks for the king. Wormtongue speaks for the king. And you get the impression that like nobody's really sure if what they're being told to do by Wormtongue is something the king wants or something Wormtongue wants. For example, Éomer is currently in jail. The riders of the Rohirrim have been sent to all different corners doing all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of confusion. They've barred the gates against strangers, against, you know, maybe even allies. It's not a great place, and Grima's been pulling the shots for a while.
And who was Éomer again?
He was the rider who destroyed the orcs in the Uruk-hai 2 chapters ago.
Got it.
So actually, let's take a brief second and talk a little bit about the Rohirrim and what's going to happen with them, because we've been introduced to several characters here, and we're not given a lot to go off of. But they have a culture that is extremely distinct from anyone else we've seen, right? It's almost got this like Norse Celtic vibe, but with horses. You have Theoden is the king at the top. His house is the house of Errol the Younger. The Erolingas is a word that comes up in the chapter a lot. And I know you guys were kind of like, what is this fucking word?
Yeah.
And it means the folk of Errol, Errol's people. So it's the same thing as saying the people of Rohan. But we have Theoden at the top. Theoden has a son who we find out is dead. He just died, killed in battle not too long ago. Next in line is Éomer. So Éomer is the king's nephew, who Grima's had thrown in prison. And Éowyn is his sister. And that's important because at one point, Theoden calls Éowyn his sister daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't love that
Right?
until I figured out what it meant.
Theoden's sister's daughter, that's his niece.
Got it.
Yeah.
Not the Alabama sister daughter.
That's my sister / daughter.
Yep.
It gets real weird sometimes.
There wasn't a slash. There was a hyphen.
So with that out of the way, we come back to the conversation where Gandalf is getting stonewalled. He's come to ask for aid. He's come to muster the Rohirrim to turn the war machine on, because guess what? The battle has started. We know that from Éomer. We know that from the orcs that are raiding inside of Rohan. There's a war going on in their backyard and the king's not doing anything. Gandalf is here to kick him into shape, to bring him wisdom, guidance, whatever. Just get the fuck up and let's go to work. We hit this pivot point in the conversation where Grima basically says, oh, well, you bring all this news and all this bullshit from, I hear you were in the Golden Wood with the sorceress Galadriel. How can we trust that? How can we trust you? Sounds like bullshit to me. Once again, Gimli goes into kill mode. He's ready.
Fair.
And Gandalf is like, no, I got you, man. Just chill a second. And he says a very nice song chant thing about how great Galadriel is. Then smites Grima. There's a flash of light and Wormtongue is on the ground and he's not moving anymore.
Lightning!
He's like, I've had enough of your bullshit, sir. Bam! And he's out. The man's down. This is the find out portion of what's going on because Gandalf does some more magic and like storms come out and he's addressing the king and he says, the world is dark. There's war abroad. You've been listening to a spy. Wormtongue is in Saruman's pocket. He has been misleading you personally, and he's been misleading everybody around here. Your forces are scattered. You're not mounting an actual defense. You're not even ready for war. You're just locked in your house waiting to die. Why? You are Théoden. You are king of the Rohirrim. You are first marshal of the Riddermark. You're a warlord, a name taker, and a motherfucker. Stand up. All hope is not lost.
Yeah.
And then the wind comes out of the north and the clouds clear and suddenly there's light again. And he says, Théoden, king, come outside, come see the world, come talk, come breathe fresh air again. And so they stand up and this ancient bent king drops his cane and he starts to rise to his full height. And Theoden's not a small man. Théoden is a warlord. He's big and he stands all the way up. He's like a man finding himself again, realizing he's tall and he is strong. And as he walks out into the light, everyone notices the change. Everyone watches this like frailty fall off of the king. They get outside and Gandalf looks around and he says, can you bring Éomer up out of the dungeons or whatever? I feel like we should talk to him. And then also, can you send everybody away? We got to have a quick one-on-one. Théoden says, you know what? Yeah. Hamma, you're a shitty door guard. Maybe you're a better gopher. Go get my nephew. And off he goes. And Gandalf and Théoden have a very quiet, very private, very quick conversation that even as readers, we're not party to. But what's happening is Gandalf is filling him in on all of the secret shit that's been going on. Théoden kind of like looks up at the sky and he looks at Gandalf and he looks around and he's like, fuck, I guess it's go time. Where's my sword? Will my sword do? And Éomer is here now. Éomer has arrived from the jail and he is offering Théoden his sword. He says, King, this has always been your blade. I've always been at your service. And Théoden looks at him and he looks at Hamma and he goes, how the fuck did he get a sword? And Hamma's like, I thought you said to let him out of jail, so I gave him his sword back. Go get me my sword. Okay. And off Hamma goes. And to sum it all up, Éomer's crimes are really that he has contradicted Wormtongue's orders, not the king's orders, Wormtongue's orders, which are supposed to be from the king, but which Éomer decides to ignore that little part of the chain of command. But also because he definitely threatened to murder Wormtongue.
That feels fair.
So he's a bitch, is what you're saying.
Wormtongue or Éomer?
Wormtongue.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
Éomer, I would die for.
Right?
I don't even know this guy, but I would die for him.
Excellent.
No, I'm just kidding. God.
And then basically at this moment though, Wormtongue comes like stumbling back out into light, and he's like, "Oh my lord, they've turned you against me. They've spoken lies to you. I wasn't here to interpret and to get between you and the bullshit. And now look what's happened. Oh God, dinner's ready. You should just come back inside, maybe." And Gandalf says like, "Oh, shut the fuck up." When did Saruman buy you? How long have you been his creature? How long have you been deceiving your king? How long have you been working against the interests of the free peoples of the whole ass world, not just the people around you? And what did he promise you? That once everyone else was dead, you'd get your pick of the women? And Éomer's like, yeah, that's why I was going to murder him.
Which was
Duh.
very clearly a reference to Eowyn.
Yes, it was. Yeah, his sister.
So gross.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And Grima's like, what?
That's crazy.
What? Are we going to just believe these guys?
Right. And Theoden's like, no, we're not just going to believe them. A lot of things have happened since Wormtongue was rendered unconscious by Gandalf. One of them is that Théoden has decided it's fucking go time. Mm-hmm. And in his conversations with Éomer and then everyone else, he's decided that everyone needs to get ready. We are going to war. Like, okay, we're gonna go to war. We should make plans. No, we're going to war now. It's today.
Right now.
Like literally get everyone who can get on a horse, get all the men, all the old men, all the particularly tall children, everyone, everybody, get them together. And then as soon as they're all here, we're leaving like today. And Grima has woken up to this nightmare scenario and he's like, oh no, no, I would never do this. I would never betray you. What have they been saying while I was unconscious? I should probably get a CAT scan, but like, what have they been saying? And Théoden says essentially that like, well, they're accusing you of bullshit and treason and implying heavily that I should kill you. But you've been my loyal servant. I think so. This is what I think. You've been my servant. You've given me good advice. You've been loyal to me, and I won't just murder you even on Gandalf's say so. And Éomer's like, well, what about my say so? And Gimli's like, I'll fucking do it. So I'll tell you what, Grima, prove who you are. Ride to war with the host. Ride to war with the Rohirrim. And Grima's like doing some quick math in his head, and he's like, if I go to war, like his life's over and he knows it. His life is over as he knew it is over. And there's a non-0% chance he gets killed if he stays.
By either side.
Right. And there's definitely a near 100% chance that if he goes anywhere near a battle with Éomer, he's going to end up dead. And like this is going on in the back of his head. And he goes, please, King, no, don't send me away from you. I would never leave your side. Please, I beg you. I am your loyal servant. Do not send me away to war. Let me be here with you and serve you as the true and faithful servant that I've always been. And he looks at Grima and he says, well, good news. I'm going. So let's go. And Grima like blinks really heavily and is like, but who will administer the state while you're gone? Surely you need someone you can trust at home. And look at me. I'm trustworthy and I'm already home.
Who's going to water the flowers?
Yeah. Who's going to make sure all the things don't go missing? Don't look at my stuff. I stole some stuff maybe. Don't like, but who's going to watch the women? Who's going to watch Eowyn? I mean, I could do this. I could do this thing for you. I could do this thing. And so, and again, Grima is.
This is the new Vigo.
Oh no. And so again, Grima is kind of confronted with this choice because Theoden's like, well, no. The choice is very clear. Show me who you are and come with me and prove that you are loyal to me like you claim you are, or get the fuck out. And if I ever see you again, I'm going to let Gimli pull you apart with his teeth. And Grima's again, he does that math in the back of his head. All men must die, but maybe not today. And so he stands up and he draws his whole snaky ass self up to his full height. And he says, you know what? And he spits at the king and runs and just fucking legs it.
I couldn't believe he did that.
Snakes don't have legs.
Just slithers. He just, but he runs for, he's out because he fucking knows he's cooked.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he's running to because the guards chase after him and Theoden's only command is like, don't kill him. Just let him pack his bag or whatever and get the fuck out. Make sure he doesn't cause any more bullshit, but don't kill him.
They should have crucified him.
Right? They should have just dragged him behind a horse for a little while.
Yeah.
Builds
I
character.
don't know why he was like, nah, don't kill him. It's like, no, you should. Down, snake.
On your belly. I love that line.
On your belly.
So,
You bitch.
so part of Theoden's priorities are one, not murdering Grima immediately, whatever. That problem is now solved because he looks around at his assembled guards and he looks at the warriors who are coming into town. Like everybody's getting ready. When Theoden said, we are going to war, get everyone. People were fucking stoked. They were like, oh my God, we're going to do something, but the orcs killing people in our own backyard.
Yeah.
We're going to get out there. We're going to do something. Also, Grima's out. That is fucking great. Nobody liked him. The king called him Grima. Everyone else called him Wormtongue. Nobody trusted him. And honestly, somebody should have stabbed him, but Eomer gave it a whirl and he ended up in jail. So who knows?
Yeah.
And the king looks better.
And the king looks better. The years have fallen off of this man. He has remembered his strength. He's dropped his cane. He's found his sword. This isn't a metaphor. This is his life. And he's now going to war. There's a couple of things to be dealt with. One, he looks at the assembled warriors and his guards and the chieftains, and he says, first thing, there's been a couple of changes in the organization, and I just want to go over those real fast. Grima is exploring new opportunities somewhere else. Fuck him. Number two, Gandalf is now a chieftain of the Rohirrim. He's a lord in Rohan, and we're all done sassing the wizard. I want to be very clear about this. We're all done sassing the wizard. Gandalf is cool now. Always been cool. Number three, if I die, because I'm an old man, look at me. I am going out for glory and death. If I don't come back, which probably not going to come back.
He like wants it. He's like,
He does.
I want
He
like
does.
a good battle.
Yeah, dude, he wants to go out well.
Honorable
Yeah.
death.
Let me get the honorable death. Let me get it.
Because he's been
Absolutely.
told nothing except like, oh, it's so sad you're so old and so frail and your kingdom is burning around you and your son is dead and there's nothing you can do. Just quietly wait for death, sir. It's fine. But now he's discovered he has the ability to go meet his fate in the way of his choosing. And Theoden has chosen violence.
Yes.
And when Theoden meets his maker in the way that he wants, Eomer is now no longer the third marshal, no longer the third man in charge. He's now the heir to the king, second marshal. Eomer's in charge. And he also says, hey, by the way, if Eomer doesn't come back either, I don't care. Y'all pick a new leader, figure it out. But that's as far as the planning goes. Fourth, we need somebody to be in charge of the people because the warriors are coming with me and everyone else and anything you can carry is going to the strong places in the mountains. And that's the king's order. Get everywhere to somewhere safe. Edoras is a nice place, but we'll rebuild it. It's just wood. This is fine. The people is what matter. Get the people to safety. And somebody must be in charge of the people. But there's no one left in the house of Errol. There's no other men. It's just me and Eomer, and we're going to war, so I don't know. And Hamma steps up and says, I think there still might be somebody. I think Eowyn. Everyone respects the shit out of Eowyn. She should be in charge while you're gone. Just saying. And so the failed door guard and gopher hits gold. Third time's a charm. And Theoden says, yes, Eowyn is in charge. Eowyn will lead the people to safety. And so Eowyn goes and does her best G.I. Jane and throws on a bunch of armor and is like, I'm ready to fucking rock and roll. I guess I'll take care of the women and children, but not the tall children. They're going to war.
It's pretty progressive.
It's fairly progressive. I mean, you get the impression that it's a lot of like I'm not impressed by Rohirrim politics right now. But they're coming along. They're doing what they can.
He literally forgot about the woman that was at his side on the dais the whole time.
Did not
Will no
count.
one else stand up?
Yeah.
And she's like, hello.
No one is
Right.
qualified.
Good old Hammer. Good old ham and cheese.
Yeah. and this is the scene where he looks around and he says, are you good? And everyone cheers. And he says, good, because you're going. And that's how the chapter ends. It's a quick, brutal chapter. I fucking loved it.
It delivered on what it promised. They said they were going to talk to Théoden, and they talked to Théoden.
I felt like we were entering a very serious meeting, and then just Gandalf ended the meeting and was like, I'm done talking. Action time. And was like, you die. And like shot him.
Gandalf knows he's in charge.
I was like, okay, things are happening. This was like, kicked into second gear.
He died. He's done with the bullshit.
True.
He's done with the BS.
Yeah,
man.
he's learned life is short.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's jump into a couple things here. I think the most obvious thing to really jump into with this chapter, what?
What do you mean I can die?
Oh.
What?
Gandalf, he's like, what the fuck do you mean I can die?
Yeah.
He came back naked and afraid, like, I had a hustle.
He woke up naked and he went, fuck.
Oh, I'm gonna get fired next time.
Yeah. But I really do think that like the most obvious thing to jump into with this chapter is Grima, right? Mm-hmm. We have a new foe, a new micro villain for one chapter. So
Bureaucracy.
Far. And he sucks.
He does.
He sucks.
There's no arguing that.
As soon as we meet him, I mean, he's described as pale with heavy eyelids and something about his
Like
tongue.
a pale, thin tongue.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Not the first thing I would notice about someone.
And he just kind of is condescending to everybody, including the king.
Well, yeah, the king is his puppet.
And immediately you just have this horrible taste in your mouth with him, And all the way through
The tongue.
he like Grima has his own arc the whole way through the chapter where he sort of rises and then falls and rises and falls in like his influence and power. To the point where even later on, after he's been zapped by Gandalf and then expelled outside, he's talking to Théoden. He still kind of is like, no, I get it. Theoden's playing him like a fiddle. But he's kind of like in this moment where Theoden's like, everybody wants you to die now. But I'm not going to do that to you, buddy. You were there for me. I trust you. You trust me, right? We have this thing. And you start off and you feel like, for a second, you're like, is this motherfucker going to like put him back in office or something?
Is he
like,
going to get away with it?
Yeah. Like, what? I thought
How could you call him loyal?
Yeah, what the hell? And then he spits and runs away. What a turd.
Well, he showed his true colors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed his true turd.
No, I think the creepiest
gray
part
and
about
thin.
him was like his leering eyes at Eowyn. Because when Aragorn first looks upon her, he notices her strength and her beauty, but also that she's not quite a woman yet. Like she's very young.
Yeah.
And like Wormtongue is like a middle-aged man.
People only live to 45 in this place, so
Unless
Not
you're the king.
always.
It's a bad 80, but you're there.
yeah.
Yeah, I just thought
I'm
he
sorry,
was
you're
like
making a point,
45 and she's like, let's say 25 or 21. Still disgusting.
The specific age, the age is not the bad part of this.
No.
Wormtongue is the bad part of this.
Yeah, that's my whole
Yeah.
point. Is like that to me just nailed the coffin on the head because I was like, ugh. Or whatever. What's the expression?
Hit the nail on the head, flat
Whatever.
nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
No, that was perfect.
Someone just got a hammer just hitting the coffin.
Yeah.
Boom.
Just right where the head is, just like banging it.
Yeah, really.
Grima's inside screaming.
Open the coffin and hit him on the head,
No, but I hated him.
Shut up. You're dead.
I hated him as a character, but that was just it for me. It sealed it, the deal. I
Made him
despise
too
him. I
creepy.
want to see him have a really grisly end. I was kind of excited they let him go because I'm like, yeah, let the enemy get
I
him.
hope that there's a more to him. I really hope that there is. I loved his character. I mean, I like thought he was despicable and disgusting, but I was like, oh, this is so fun. I think we all have met a Wormtongue in our life. Somebody who exists to just leech off of somebody else, and you're standing there, and in your head you're going, just shut the fuck up. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Somebody who's just like I think in high school they were called teachers' pets.
Well,
People who would like just try to get in with whoever's in charge and put their voice in their ear and like just change and manipulate things. I didn't like that shit. And I know a couple Wormtongues growing up. Obviously
It's
they
like
weren't threatened by wizards, but
Right. But you did knock him out.
But I did zap him.
Good.
I threw a bug zapper on her face.
I enjoyed Wormtongue because he was the unpredictable part of this chapter.
Yeah.
We kind of knew where it was going. We kind of knew what was going to happen. They had to go convince Théoden to go to war. But this whole Wormtongue thing was like out of left field. So it made the chapter a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I liked about Wormtongue is that it represents, like, he represents his whole effort, his whole character, the whole purpose is like, from a plot perspective, he's there to disarm the Rohirrim. He's there to blunt he's there to blunt their efficacy militarily, so that way Saruman can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's also, and you guys tell me, he's the first agent of the enemy that's had their own voice.
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, okay, so we had like Bill Ferny and the Southerner and a couple other things, but like they're not really like.
You mean non-orc, non-Urukai agents?
Yeah. I'm
voice.
sorry. Yeah, let me go back. And so, what I really think is interesting about Grima is that he represents that, but also that it's the subtlety of the way Saruman and Sauron work. Because the ring is corruption, right? But that's sort of like an idea. Orcs are violence. The wolves are magical violence. Like it's a world of horrors, and we're learning that the enemy has many tools. And so what Wormtongue is Wormtongue is a very subtle tool, an inobvious one. And this is the first time we've encountered this.
I had a question, I guess, that kind of is in line with that. The way Théoden changed from like this old, stooped over, like really ancient man to, it seems like he kind of got younger in front of our eyes. Did Wormtongue have like a spell on him? Like, how did this happen? Why did Théoden even trust him in the first place? To be honest, who trusts a guy called Wormtongue?
And does Wormtongue have powers?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to figure out.
If you can't answer him, you can't answer him. I don't think it came across that he has any superpowers.
But it did seem like Théoden was under a spell.
So this is an example of how magic in Tolkien's world can be very subtle, right? Because remember when Gimli and Legolas and Aragorn were chasing the orcs, it was like as though something was just impeding them. Something was sapping their will and helping the orcs succeed. So what you are reading into is not made explicit, but it's implied by the world and it's supported by other things we've seen.
So, like, if you're in the presence of Wormtongue, there is like a minus 0.005 HP effect in the air that sort of slowly drains you.
It's mostly how much lead he gets to put in your wine.
Well, I want to say something. I noticed this read through, and again, like I don't really remember the exact specifics of how he looked old and haggard and was like tired, but it was really fishy to me. And this is just me paying attention to something when I was reading it. I don't know if this is right. That as soon as he sees the king in fresh air and sunshine, not in the dark, and he sees him with Gandalf outside, he's like, "Oh, the dinner's ready. We should come eat."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh, that's fishy." He wants to put something in his mouth and wants him to be in the darkness again. He doesn't want to be in the light. And we've learned in this world that evil is most powerful at nighttime, in the dark, not in the sun.
Interesting.
And I thought it was really interesting that he wanted him to eat something or drink something. I was
He
like,
whispered to the chicken, "You're evil. You're evil.
No.
You're evil."
no, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know if that's the answer.
You're a
But I thought that was really an interesting choice of the writing to like kind of plant a
I like
seed.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right. It presents those dichotomies, the light and good versus dark and evil.
It's very thematic.
Being closed up in your mind and your abilities versus being out in the world again. But yeah, maybe the chicken's just evil.
Going back just a little bit, when they are approaching Edoras,
Legolas is an asshole.
and Legolas is an asshole. No, actually, he was kind of nice. He was being Gandalf's binoculars.
This is twice now you've said this. Can we address something that's bothering me?
What?
So how do you say it? How do you say it?
Say what?
You know what I'm talking about right now.
How do you pronounce the city where?
No, we're talking before we get to that.
No. But how do you say that? How do you say it?
Edoras?
What are you looking at?
Edoras.
Oh, wow. That's so much better than me.
I want to bring up something that's bothered me. This happened twice now on this podcast. You said that Gandalf is using Legolas as what?
Binoculars.
There it is again for the third time.
What's wrong?
Binoculars?
Yeah. How do you
Say that
pronounce
word
it?
right now, both of you.
Binoculars.
Binoculars? B-I-N?
Yeah, binoculars.
B-U. Binoculars. Binoculars, binoculars, binoculars.
Binoculars?
I'm losing my mind right now. This word, I've never thought about how you say this word until right now.
That's
and you
funny.
said binoculars, and I went, oh my God, I'm saying it wrong my entire life.
I don't know if I'm right. I could be wrong.
And then you said binoculars, and you said binoculars.
I grew up in Carlisle, so I mean, I'm probably wrong.
You grew up where they say binoculars.
I'm just gonna start saying
Like
looking
bin.
glass.
Yeah,
Bring my
really.
looking glass.
Yeah. It's like,
My double looking glass.
bring me the elf. And they just put Legolas up on your shoulders.
So I want anyone listening or watching, please comment, send us a message.
Oh my God.
How do you say it? If you're on TikTok, I think you can send a video message and be like
Oh.
binoculars or an audio message. I want to hear it. I want to know how people pronounce it because we have 3 different ways it's being said right now.
So they're looking out towards Edoras and they see these mounds covered in white flowers. And I think it's Gandalf who tells them that the flowers are called Evermind and they look like small eyes and they bloom year round. So basically, over these burial mounds, there's just a sea of eyes watching everything. And that just was so disquieting to me. Even though they're just flowers, the fact that they look like eyes just watching out from these graves all year.
Really? Are you? I was just hardwired as a child to know that my grandparents were disappointed in me.
Qua?
I just thought that was your reaction because I had a very different reaction. I was
Yeah?
like, well, that's such a beautiful way to honor the dead. These small flowers that sprang like countless stars. So that's what I said in the first paragraph. And I was like, that would be such a cooler way than a big stone slab. I thought it was so great. I'm like, I think I found my new favorite fake flower.
There we go.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that was really interesting about that is that the flowers only grew where the bodies were buried.
Yeah.
Right.
Dead men
And they
fell.
look like
Dead men
eyeballs.
from the past.
They needed the
where they were
nutrients
laid
of dead
to
men
rest.
to grow,
Yeah.
which I really loved.
So if you like picked it, you were technically picking like probably an essence of
Your ancestor.
some sort of ancestry or DNA or something, you know?
Bone meal and disappointment.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bone meal. Classic. And you were like, this one tastes like chili. What was
This one
Uncle
tastes like
Ronnie
Timmy.
eating? But I thought that was really interesting because
Yeah.
also, as someone who has not read anything besides this makes me go, well, this isn't a cemetery, right?
Right.
It was
This
all
is-
the leaders before Théoden.
So
the
were they
kings
all just
before
like
him.
laid outside on the ground and just buried there?
They were
and not,
mounds.
Like in a
The burial mounds.
yeah,
Yeah. So
But like this was just the kings. It wasn't like their whole cemetery.
just the kings.
I think so.
but
Yes.
it's like the Barrow Downs. Remember the Barrow Downs?
Yeah, but that was like buy out. You know, it's a thing. It's like you go into.
You know,
it.
like so those were very big tombs, right? So
Yeah.
actually, this is a fun exercise in where the world is now versus where the world was, because the Barrow Downs were like these more expansive tomb complexes. It was like you built a temple and
there
then
was
you buried it.
hallways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is like kind of just you
Bob
build
died. Put him on the grass. Put some dirt.
you
on
build
him.
build a tomb or whatever. You pile rocks on it, and you pile dirt on that. You make a mound. So it's like it's almost like a step backwards,
Yeah,
and that's where we are today.
it's just interesting because it felt like it was the way it was described. Like it was almost like in the center of town.
No, it was outside the city.
Was it outside?
Yeah, it was on the approach.
But it said it was on the approach.
Yeah,
It-
Legolas
yeah.
saw it.
Because it said it read like it was like leading up to it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But to the first gate, not inside the city. So as you ride up to Edoras, you have to pass through 500 years of graves,
That's tough.
right? So the the spooky gate guards, maybe not so spooky.
I think that's cool though. Like as you're entering the city, you're honoring the kings that came before,
Like it's neat,
or
though.
at least you're
Or
looking at
spitting
them,
or peeing on them.
or they're looking at you.
Right.
Not
With all their
everybody.
little flower eyes.
Not everybody spits in the eye of fairies and then it gets like tires blown out on the road.
I didn't spit, I peed. There's a big difference.
There is. One is worse.
The fairies would have taken one tire for that.
30-second story. I had to pee in the fairy glen.
The Fairy Glen.
In the fairy glens.
In Isle of Skye.
In the Isle of Skye in Scotland. And RJ said, don't do that. And I said, it's fine. I don't believe this. And then as soon as we got in the car, we blew out 2 tires within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Revenge is real.
Fairies are real.
Fairies are real. I think another thing I want to bring up is a real fast thing is Mirus, which is the breed of horse that Shadowfax belongs to. And I know that they call him the Prince of Horses.
Yeah.
Well, like kind of as a description. And I was having a hard time understanding this when RJ and I were talking about this when we were reading it. And I was like Mirror's like what makes Shadowfax so cool and so good? And we did like a quick look up of Mirrors, and it's a wild breed of horse that surpass regular horses in intelligence, speed, and strength, which is awesome.
Is it fictional? Is this a Tolkien verse
This
thing?
is a Tolkien thing, if you look it up.
Okay.
And because they mentioned it's a Mirrors horse.
Yep.
And so I'm like, again, as I said in
didn't
the
know what that
beginning,
was.
there's a lot of things said as if you're supposed to know what it is. So we've sort of gotten in the habit of like, all right, well, he's saying something. Let's like look this up so I have some context of what he means. Because what's a Mirrors horse? Does a Mirrors horse have wings? Does a Mirrors horse survive underwater? Like it's a thing he's calling out. He didn't call out any other horse breeds. And so we looked it up, and then that made me think like Shadowfax is like the Numenorian to the men,
Yes.
but of the horses.
100%.
Yeah.
And so that was a good way for me as someone who's sort of like getting into this world to have some context to paint that picture in my head.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you told us that.
It's interesting because Shadowfax stands out as like this like, ooh, horse. And then you have Bill the Pony, ooh. And I don't know which one I like more.
Well, it's opposite ends of the
know?
ooh spectrum.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. One
You're
is
like,
majestic.
ooh, and you're like, ooh.
I don't know. Shadowfax is like, fuck you, and like running away. Bill the Pony is like, do you want popcorn?
Like doing donuts.
Yeah.
I'm going to make some
One
popcorn.
of them
Do you
is
want
like
some?
royal lineage, and it's like Aragorn and like Pippin.
Oh.
Yeah, seriously. Both
Yeah.
are needed for a good time.
Exactly.
though, you know?
Exactly.
No, it's literally Aragorn and Sam.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
How's
it
it
is.
Sam?
Sam? Bill, if
Oh, because
Because
Bill
Bill
was
the Pony
there.
was like, I'll take all the bags because you're giving me love.
yeah, you like me? I'll do anything.
Yeah.
You can call me Bill if that man abused me. It's fine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's such a Sam.
Well, Sam didn't come from like a what do you call it? Like a
Privileged
royal,
background?
yeah, like a privileged
A
family.
bloodline? Sam came from the garden.
Exactly. So did Bill the Pony.
That's true.
He ain't
Sam
no
was pulled out of
Shadowfax.
the ground like an onion.
All right, I am dying to talk about Eowyn and Aragorn here.
All right.
I bursted. So I was so excited to finally get some like juicy like scenes here in Lord of the Rings.
So yeah. So
Not quite the smut you're used to.
No, but I could see
close
how
as it
it
gets.
fanned a lot of fires. And some of my favorite, romantasy writers are big Lord of the Rings fans, and I see where they get it.
Is he going to cheat on Arwen? What's
No, it's
going
not that.
on?
It's like, so yeah, we have Eowyn, who's this beautiful, strong, highborn woman. And the prospects around her are bleak. She has, her uncle who's like a dying old king that's shriveled, and Wormtongue who's just disgusting
Ew.
and leering at her, and then her brother. And then that's about it in her class.
What about Hamma?
Well, he's the door guard. She can't marry the door guard. And Hamma, as much as they seem to like get along and be friends, and he like actually like puts her in a position of power, I don't think the bond, like the
Hamma's the same as
the
Wormtongue.
attraction isn't. No, he's not disgusting.
Don't do that to Hamma.
No.
Hamma's just
That's
like, what
not
about
right.
Hamma's
her?
like a loyal servant that probably watched her grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was,
him
he
and
was
Loyal
a
Bond.
neckbeard, and Eowyn is a cheerleader.
No.
So to be fair, Eomer was gonna kill Grima
Yes.
for going after his sister, but only Hamma was like, "No, I respect her for her abilities."
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Which,
true.
good try, my man, but it doesn't
Yeah.
win the prize.
So
Maybe they
in-
grew up together.
So in walks in this motley crew. We have a dwarf, an elf, Gandalf the Grey White. We're not sure yet.
Technically, 3 ragged wanderers, as they're described.
And one of those ragged wanderers is tall, dark, exotic. And then he happens to be the
Scruffy.
king that was promised. Yeah, her eyes are shining.
Eowyn
She's
was like,
trembling at
you
his
come
touch.
from money?
No, it's not that. It's that he is like a man above all men, and he is the promised king that has
He's
come
regal.
again.
Yeah.
He's this like legend from songs and stories, you know?
Well, yeah, fuck. Even the door guards saw that, right? When they were talking
Yeah.
about, like, this is the flame of the West. This is a sword that's broken. They're like, oh, fuck me. Legends are walking.
And
Yeah,
he
he
looks
was like,
dangerous.
I think you're
he's like,
out of a storybook.
exotic, and he's a
Yeah,
ranger.
yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, of course her
Yeah.
heart's a pumping.
Yeah.
Her
He's
eyes
got
are
that-
shining.
That, like, drifter, like, stranger danger.
Yeah. And that
Blood
scene where
was
she's like
pumping.
serving the wine for her uncle, and then she's like, allow me to like Aragorn. I'm like, okay, how long has she been working those moves?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What did they like brushed their hands together for a moment?
And he was like, he felt her tremble. I was like, ooh. I was
But like
loving it.
he noticed her, but then he got like a cloud over his face.
Because
he was
his heart
like,
can't be given away.
can't do this. Yeah.
And it was a bummer because I think he saw the potential of what could have been if he wasn't already madly in love with Arwen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would have been a perfect match for him. They both are for
both of
royal
them.
Yeah.
bloodlines.
Yeah.
Both
Still could
mortal. I don't think so.
Well, I never say never.
I mean, he's in love with Luthien come again. Like he's done.
Yeah, the man
He's
is...
in love with an old lady.
No.
Oh, that is...
She's the epitome of what woman is.
She just looks really good for her age.
But he's also really old. He's like what, 75?
Yeah.
He just looks really good as well.
So maybe
full
Eowyn
head
is
of
the one
hair.
who's fucked up here.
No, but I just love this
She's
scene.
gold digging in the wrong fucking cemetery, dude.
Oh my God.
She wants a nice man to ride into sunset with. He is sitting on the edge of the sunset. He's ready to go.
Well, he's a warrior and
He's a
he just
king.
wants to keep riding into war.
Yeah, but it's not like he's like a young buck.
Yeah.
But
I did get a kick
Legolas-
out of that.
I like that we're having all of this discussion in the shadow of Theoden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's like ancient beyond words, but just looks it until like he wakes the fuck up and is like, I like to kill things.
Now I'm only 75.
I got to be honest here. Theoden was, to me, the least interesting part of this chapter.
Fair.
Predictable.
And you're allowed to have that opinion for most of the rest of this book.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm hoping it gets better. Theoden was unimpressive when we meet him. We were told in prior chapters that the king of the Golden Hall is not to be fucked with anymore. He is not susceptible. He's not accepting, because they're
He's
like,
not
oh, I'm
welcoming
friends
visitors?
with him. And they're like, it's different there now.
Oh,
It's
yeah. He's
different.
like,
in
they don't
town.
like Gandalf there anymore.
You don't like Gandalf. He's not a good dude. He's not going to see strangers, all this shit. You say all this stuff. And then Gandalf walks up and he's like, tell them that Gandalf the Grey is here. And I'm sitting there in my head going, that's not going to
That's
work,
not gonna
bro.
work.
They just told you. They just told you 2 days ago that's not going to work because he's different. He's changed. He's a fucking asshole now. He doesn't like you.
But also, I don't think anybody told Gandalf that Théoden said that. Like, we were not privy to that conversation if it happened, because Éomer told Aragorn and Legolas,
Right.
Gandalf is not welcome anymore. I didn't notice them actually telling Gandalf that.
Yeah. And it might have been beyond
he even knew.
our eyes or what we can read, but
I got your answer.
yeah.
Éomer gave them all this information, and then they're like, oh man, well, Gandalf's dead, so whatever. Éomer goes back and tells Theoden Gandalf is dead. And then 2 days later, some vagabonds show up and one of them claims to be Gandalf. Aren't you at least going to look at them and find out what kind of liar showed up?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I feel like somebody pretending to be Gandalf would be trying to get into my city to kill me. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't let a person.
If I was the king
If you're
of this
Grima,
place,
you are correct.
If I was the king of this place, and even if I was under the impression that Gandalf was dead, and then they were like, someone claiming to be Gandalf is here, and I didn't like Gandalf, the last thing I would do is be like, give me one-on-one time with him. Bring him up right here to me. Instead, I would be like, no, I'm going to walk out on my balcony and he can be down there and I'm going to look at him or something. You know what I mean? It just felt like very like, all right. How convenient that the king is willing to see you. And then you go in there, you know, it provides good fodder for the fucking hammer shit with like handing in the weapons and all that stuff. But
you know, to your point, yeah, this does feel a little constructed. And I think it goes back to what I said earlier, where this is a chapter where this chapter is a transition point. This takes us from one place to get us to somewhere else. And to your point, Tolkien's editor was probably like, we got to cut somewhere.
Yeah.
And so instead of getting a very long, drawn out thing, we get all the most important points in a couple of pages, a couple of paragraphs, a couple of characters interacting in 15 minutes of narrative time.
Yeah.
And now the whole complexion of the story has changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is different. It's very, very different. The pacing is different. The presentation is different. The interactions are very different. It serves a lot of purposes, and it's still good writing. It's still entertaining.
It's good.
It's still
And you know what?
informative.
This chapter moves, you know, for being a chapter that primarily takes place in like a basically an afternoon, right?
Mhm.
It's like a singular day of like events happening.
Less than that.
Yeah.
Because you, from the
Like it
time...
still moves pretty fast. I think this moves faster than Merry and Pippin across several days with the orcs.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the
And
writing
the ends.
stuff. And the end. Oh my god, especially the end. Jesus Christ. I found myself on Craigslist in the middle of reading that one.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't even know I was doing it. I came to and I was like, oh,
Oops.
Craigslist, delete.
Quick beam. Who? What the
Back
fuck?
to the chapter. The one thing I actually really loved about this chapter was that Theoden, when he like comes to, he kind of finds himself again, becomes this like big emboldened king again. He's walking around, his shoulders are moving. He's got the sunlight. He's like, Gandalf, want some gifts? He's like, how about all your guys want some shit? Want some free shit? And he starts handing stuff out from his kingdom. And I love that moment. It's so fun.
Go in the basement, pick out what you want.
He's like, yeah. He's like, you brought a bunch of homeless people with you. I can put some like clothes on them and shit. I got really good swords, and in that moment, Gandalf's like, nah, we're good on that. They got better shit that you can possibly imagine.
They're only wearing priceless elven cloaks.
literally. And I'm thinking about like how fucking decked out they must be, but it's like,
No, dude,
fine.
They're
you know?
literally wanderers. They have a magic jacket, and that's it. And Theoden is like, you know, we're going to war, right? You can't wear your best underwear
No
to go
more
fight.
Robin Hoods.
Right.
Yeah, they all the cloaks and shit.
Yeah, no
still.
more Robin Hood shit. It's all name taking and motherfucking now.
So
Also,
you
you
need
might need armor.
pro and a
for
con
war.
here. Pro and a con. Armor, good. Getting rid of the cloaks, bad.
Getting what?
Rid of the cloaks.
Oh,
They
no, don't get rid
say
of the
they
cloaks.
get rid of the cloaks.
No,
they just
they
say they
just
put armor on
with it.
underneath.
Keep these cloaks on, guys.
Yup.
They know that.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. Do they?
Do you think, okay, so with as terrified of Galadriel and the Golden Wood and Lothlorien and elves generally that like all these people seem to be, do you think if they left anything laying around, someone would be like, no, wait, please don't, no, you need to take that with you. Or would they be
Also,
like,
do you
"Let's
think
just
that
burn this place
Galadriel
down"?
cut the cloak for Gimli to be his size?
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or is he dragging a 3 foot?
He has a train, like a bridal train.
That idea. Oh my God, the hobbits
Yeah.
are like dressed in sails.
Yeah.
This is fun because as a group, they've only received gifts one other time. And it was like, it was from Galadriel. So they're the magical things. They are things with great deeper meaning. And Theoden is like, God damn, we ride into war. Pick some armor, some helmets, some shields, whatever the fuck you want, but we're going. And
Take
we're
some hand-me-downs.
right. You guys joke because it's like, oh, this is like hand-me-down garbage, whatever. But for context, armor and weapons and shields and all the rest of it, those are things only rich people can afford. Everyone else goes to war with whatever they have on.
Yeah.
And whatever they have. So if you're like, oh, you're going to go fight, but also you have body armor, you have a shield, you have a good horse.
I know this is probably not the same, but I just saw an interesting like TikTok video this week where somebody was figuring out the price of armor, how much it would be in today's money.
Yeah.
And it was an average set of armor was like $200,000 or $150,000.
Whoa.
Yes. That's kind of it.
Hot damn.
Like just a suit of armor.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is going to be a very quick historical diversion for everybody. But like that was the whole point of knights. Knights were warriors, and in return for service and war, they were given land and people to rule over, specifically because those people had to provide him with an income so he could buy weapons to fight war. It was a cycle. And so what Theoden is saying is like, even though you guys don't have any responsibilities to me as king of the Rohirrim, I'm still going to arm you. I'm going to give you a shitload of very
give you $1
important
million
stuff.
worth of stuff right now.
Yeah, I'm going to kit you the fuck out like my own people don't even have.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's a real gift. Even as
Yeah.
a hand-me-down. He's
You
like,
know what else is a real gift? The figure 8 horse doing fucking 260 mile an hour
Shadowfax when they go to try to
fucking
find him.
dust storm out in the fields.
Because I didn't address that, but one of the other
donuts
things,
out in the pasture.
because like one of the things that they do when Théoden says, like, hey guys, there's been some changes, is like, by the way, Gandalf is cool now. Also, Shadowfax is actually his horse now. It's not a loner.
Oh,
it's a real horse.
That was a gift.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Gandalf's like, oh, thank God, because I'm going to do some real ill shit, and I would hate to bring someone else's horse with me. But
Which
now
is
that
nice. He's like, what do you want? And he was like, I want the horse, dude.
and everybody was like, well, where is the horse? And they're like, out there doing donuts at 300 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't let anyone touch him besides Gandalf.
I love that.
And he whistles for the horse, and up he comes.
Yeah.
It's
They
just
have a
like
bond
Breath
of
of the
love.
Wild.
And it's like, dude, just cuts to like Motley Crue. Hell yeah! And he's like going in the dust storm.
Just the horse singing to itself.
Yeah, like this horse is a bat out of hell
To the danger zone.
and everybody's like, past him. They're like, this is crazy. And he's like, that's my boy.
My boy.
My wild feral boy.
Oh my.
Good old SF.
All right. Did anybody remember the very last sentence?
No, what was it?
It was such an ominous like way to end the chapter and very different. They're like, we're going off to battle. We're all kitted up. Shadowfax is getting ready. And the very last sentence is, far over the plain, Eowyn saw the glitter of their spears as she stood still, alone, before the doors of the silent house. And immediately I got filled with dread and was terrified. I'm like, oh shit, Wormtongue is coming back and she's all alone with the women and children. I was like, no. I don't know. And then you flip the next page and it's like chapter 7. I was like, no, that's it. They're going to leave us hanging. I was so disappointed. It left us with just her by herself in the silent house.
Yeah.
Just watching Aragorn ride away.
Yeah, and her job is to get everybody out of there.
Yeah.
To the stronghold.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Best of luck, bitches.
Yeah.
One of the things that happens in the chapter is when Theoden's like, okay, we're going to go to war and like, we're going to do this thing. By the way, I'm going to have a guest room made up for you. You get dinner, whatever. And Gandalf's like, no, we're going now.
Yeah.
So they had to turn down a meal after like sleeping out in the open and not really eating a whole lot for a couple of days.
Sucks.
What would you have asked for if you could have had food at that moment?
Oh, mutton.
Really?
Really?
Fucking pizza rolls.
Oh my God. I'd crush a whole pizza.
Dude, you crush a whole pizza and that would be good, but just think about a whole tray of fresh, crispy pizza rolls. Right out of the oven. The little fucking dicey guys with the little...
Am I allowed to have a meal or does that have to be only one thing?
Anything
What are they,
you want.
Totinos or something like that?
Meal.
Yeah.
Those guys? Oh,
Yeah.
This is
some have pepperoni in them.
this is so specific, and it
Some
won't be
have rats in
shocking for things I said before in the podcast. But I want some fresh baked warm bread with like a sea salt homemade butter that's like spreadable, and a Roquefort salad, and a shrimp scampi pasta,
Sounds great.
That does sound wonderful.
and then I'd be ready to go.
You know you're getting older when you hear someone talk about food and you just get a boner. And you're like, that sounds like a great meal.
Yo, I'm so hungry.
I'm excited.
No, I've changed my answer.
Okay.
Wait, no. what's
You
it?
didn't give an answer.
He said pizza.
I said pizza.
Oh, okay.
But, no, you
I
see-
feel like, yeah, knowing that it's probably going to be my last dinner, I would go for like the nice steak dinner.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice like tenderloin or something.
I want like
Ribeye.
right there, right?
Yeah.
You and I are made for each other. Because what pizza is my first instinct, but when I search my heart, what I really want is like a steak, but just like on an Italian roll. And I want to eat that. And then I want like, I don't know, a pint of good whiskey, and then probably like 3 good slugs of NyQuil.
Before you go into battle?
No, before I go to bed.
You're not going to bed.
They're going straight to battle.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely a quart of NyQuil.
Okay. That'll be a
Oh
short
my
battle.
God.
It's okay.
You just fall off your horse.
So, Chris, are you sticking with pizza rolls? In the Golden Hall, they can make you anything. Kitchen staff is waiting
It
on
would
hand and
be
foot.
a half a pound of tater tots.
Ooh, I'm changing
It
my
would
answer.
be a ribeye with a really good sear on it.
Ooh.
It would be
Au jus sauce?
definitely some
fuck
au jus. It would be a side of meatballs and spaghetti.
As a side, I love it.
It would be a starter of some asparagus and garlic bread.
Green, very progressive.
Yes. And it would also be some fresh worm tongue.
Blech.
Chopped up, seared, cannibalistic style. I would want to feel like a warrior.
That's the least bad answer.
But here's why. You ready? I would go like this. They would cut him up, and they would roast him and season him. Keep his hair on, burn off, whatever you want to do. I'll take a little piece of his cheek. I'll bring it up to my mouth, and I would go, yuck. And I would throw it on the ground.
God.
I mean, I respect the energy, but
It's
like,
fucking dark, dude.
Chris, I think you're the bad guy.
I loved it. I said I loved it. I'm into bad guys. Let's go.
Yeah, you show up to the king's house and the king's like, I'll cook you anything you want, what do you want?
And
you're
I
like,
go, him.
That guy.
I want sins.
Cut him up, put some pepper on him, a little hot sauce, and then I'm going to turn him
Throw
down
him on
after
the
he's
floor.
been sacrificed.
Ew.
Ew.
Well, on that
All right,
delicious
all this
note,
food talk's talking. Fucking, it's time for.
You want to take that all again?
So all this. Do we have a treat?
Yes.
you have to do a better lead in than
No,
that.
I think honestly, like the snap and the transition.
I'm so scared right now.
Do you know what didn't have feelings?
What?
Our treat.
Well, I can't be sure of that.
What?
What?
What is it?
So this week's food for thought is all about Wormtongue.
Oh, God.
Right? We've got some worms and dirt here, the classic kids treat, but made with homemade pudding because I couldn't not. And of course, we have gummy worms on top. So for me, the gummy worms are for Wormtongue, and the dirt is where I expect he will end up.
I love it.
I thought you were going to take this a different way and say worms on top and cow tongue in the middle.
Oh,
And I was like, this is getting interesting. It's like Fear Factor.
yeah. What
like
are we going to
raw
make you
tongue.
eat
Oh,
next?
yeah.
Well, luckily, it's just chocolate.
Just
so-
chocolate. You should be good.
The Latino culture eats cow tongue all the time.
I'm aware of that. I still
It's
don't want to
delicious.
eat it. Have you had it?
Yeah.
Really?
It's
What's it
fantastic.
taste like?
Like chicken.
Kisses.
He said like chicken and you said like kisses.
He said chicken.
You
said
said like kisses. He said like chicken.
He said like chick kisses.
You're lying to me.
I said kicking.
Still lying.
All right, tell me about this.
I just did.
She just did.
I have nothing left to say about it.
I can't tell if I want to eat the dirt first or the worms.
Oh, my God.
I mean, there's some worm tongue just
Can you explain to me what the dirt is?
staring right at you. Okay, the dirt is crushed Oreos.
Okay, now that's
Ooh.
better.
You know that's gonna be good.
Now I'm feeling a little more into it.
Okay.
I thought it was just dirt with
Oh yeah?
gummies in it.
You thought I just went outside and sprinkled a little bit of soil up in there?
Well, that's some good
Well, let's
soil
try
if
it.
it's outside.
All right, so
What else?
It's a nice sandy
I don't
loam.
think you're being honest with me. What is going on in here?
I told you, homemade pudding and Oreo crumbs.
You sure this isn't a cow tongue?
No.
Wow, the homemade pudding is so good.
Thank you.
God, I fucking love pudding. These worms are very chewy.
Yeah, that's the
I
point.
just swallowed it whole. I couldn't bite through it.
What did that feel like on the journey down?
He dropped his spaghetti down my throat.
No.
Oh, Christopher.
No.
This is very tasty. I do not enjoy the feeling of worms in my mouth. It makes me think I'm eating a real worm.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Oh, Laura's put these in these like fun. What are these like clear glass?
These glasses are cups. They have a bottom.
They're like ice cream cups.
Yeah, they have a little stand on the bottom. It's very nice. It's the kind of thing that Theoden would give away to people he didn't care about. But it's got layers of pudding and cookie, like crushed Oreo, and like there's a couple. There's
Multiple
strata.
layers.
There's strata.
Strata.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Good word.
It's like Saturn. Those rings.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Not wrong. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna eat pudding in silence now.
I've just been shoving mine in my mouth as it was gone. So good.
Thank you.
And I like how you really finally, what's the word, processed the Oreo cookie?
Food processor for the win.
It's a really nice consistency. It's not too chunky.
I didn't know where that was going.
But I mean,
She finally processed the death of Gandalf.
I did.
She was like, what I really appreciate is that you finally
No, finally.
Finally.
No, finally. like
made something I want. I was like, where are we going with
no.
this?
Like finally, like Finely.
Finally, not finally.
Correct.
Oh, I misheard you.
Like finally processed.
I thought she
I heard
said
finally.
because she took
I
that
heard
pause
finally.
and she was like, I'm just so glad that you finally. And I was like, where is this going?
Oh my God.
I understood what you said.
So it feels like a nice wrap on chapter 6, the King of the Golden Hall. Next week, we're going to be here for chapter 7, which is called
Helm's Deep.
Helm's Deep. I know
can't
that.
wait.
I know Helm's Deep.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Okay. This is interesting. I'm excited for the next chapter then.
Well, we got a nice introduction to it when we saw War of the Rohirrim.
Yes.
So I'm pumped. I already know what it is.
I know what it is. I don't know who Helm is, but I'm excited about it.
Yes, you do.
Old
I do
murder
know
hands.
who Helm is, apparently. I was wrong. Much like everything in this podcast.
That's okay. We're here for the journey.
Yeah. So tune in next week for Helm's Deep, Chapter 7, from the Two Towers, from your favorite Lord of the Rings podcast on Earth, full of Took, as you know.
That's a fact.
Thank you guys for tuning in, for watching, for listening. Make sure you subscribe to our channel on video, on audio. We got tons of clips. We're also on TikTok. I don't know if you TikTok, but we like to TikTok.
Yeah, we tick and we talk.
We tick and we talk.
Damn.
We
do it all.
We're not going to go too much further down that road, but we do it.
Only Sam's.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. There's a special secret video if you can find it. You have to watch all of the TikToks, but one of them has a secret message in there. Let us know if you find it. And anyway, tune in next week. We'll see you.
For Helm's Deep.
What?
Bye.
Bye.
What?
I'm so disappointed.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.